Hello, I'm Phil from Addiction UK, and today we're going to talk about stinking thinking, cognitive distortions in addiction. Systematic errors in reasoning that lead to faulty assumptions and misconceptions are termed cognitive distortions or stinking thinking in recovery groups. They are the irrational thoughts that can influence our emotions, thinking and behaviour. It also makes our thought process biased. Cognitive distortions act as a way of coping with adverse life events. The more prolonged and severe these events are, the more likely it is to form one or more cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions are also considered to be used as a kind of evolutionary survival method, as identified in evolutionary psychology. In response to stress, people can adapt their thinking in ways useful for their immediate survival, which may not be rational or healthy on a long-term basis. It is helpful for both clinicians and patients to be aware of thinking errors that can maintain the process of addiction. In recovery language, this is known as addictive thinking or stinking thinking. These negative thoughts affect how we feel and may cause us to drink or use drugs to feel better. One example of addictive thinking is all or nothing or black and white thinking. In this type of cognitive distortion, individuals might believe that either they are the best or the worst person, which is nothing in between. Another example is believing I'll never get sober or I'll never relapse. Another common cognitive distortion in addiction is personalizing. In this type of thinking, individuals believe that everything others say or do is aimed at them, and thus tend to take everything personally and respond accordingly. Labeling is another type of cognitive error in which the individual defines others or themselves based on a single event or isolated behaviour. It reduces them or others to a single label, for example, a drunk, a failure, or a nag. As a result, they may put themselves down and discount what others have to say, often disrupting relationships in the process. Labeling oneself as an addict or a drunk also means permitting oneself to stay in that situation and rejecting any opportunities for change. When we believe our stinking thinking, we end up feeling sad, lonely and confused, and eventually isolate ourselves from other people. In addiction recovery, changing one's cognitive distortions is possible and even necessary. Identifying one's thought patterns is the first step. One way to do this is to write down your negative thoughts and reframe them by coming up with alternative interpretations. After this, you can evaluate whether this thought pattern is helpful for your overall recovery. If you find it to be unhelpful, it may be time to change it. Remember, cognitive distortions are just the addictive mind tricking us into staying in our addiction. If we can change our negative thoughts into more realistic ones, we have a greater chance of staying in recovery.